All right, guys. Well, good morning, everybody. So for those that are not here, obviously we're going to put this on the YouTube channel. We don't put all of our classes on there because I like people to come. I like the energy. I like seeing people. But not everybody can make everything. I get that. And when we have all of our top agents here at one time, I thought, well, let's put it on YouTube because that's cool. So thank you guys so much for volunteering for this. Dave, thanks for the idea, by the way.
Oh my gosh.
We appreciate your guys' time. So we have Tony Allen on the end, Dave Carney, Kelsey Besecker, and Jaylene. Yeah, so we're really happy to have you guys. Today's about listing presentations this morning. Karen, right here, front and center. Come on in. I love it. So we had a panel earlier on the phone call. When you get a lead, what do you say? Remember those? Then we had a panel on, okay, now when you show up and meet them, what do you give them? What do you say? How do you transition into now I'm going to be your agent rather than we're just talking about a house? So this panel is going to be about listing presentations. So I've got a bunch of questions. We can go through some banter as well, but I want to make sure we cover some of the key things, which are things like 1-step or 2-step. We're going to go through some of this. When do you do a CMA? Before you meet them? After you walk through the house? What's your style of walking through? Do you take notes? Like, we're going to go through some of that stuff. Are most of your listings referred and past clients, or are they cold? Do you treat them differently? Like on a referred one, do you do a 1-step? On past clients or whatever, do you do a 2? So I kind of want to go through that and get all of your guys' ideas. And I'm going to shut up and just kind of moderate this a little bit. I want to hear what you guys actually have to say about some of this stuff. So let's just start off with this first thing. Most of your listings, are they referred? Or like past clients, people you know, or are these cold that you're competing against other agents for? Tony, we'll start with you.
Well, recently, coming here, it's been more leads, coming from the brokerage, but primarily my career has been almost exclusively expired and canceled. So,
Okay.
I'm not that guy y'all hate that calls at 8:00 in the morning when your listings expire or cancel. And I've been doing that since 2014. And I learned that at Keller Williams through another big agent over there. Yeah, so primarily that's where they
Expired. So most of your listings are cold then. You don't know them.
absolutely do not know them.
And you're probably competing.
Yeah, most of the time.
Okay.
Most of the time, yeah.
Good to know. How about you, Dave?
Yeah, most of mine are cold as well. It's
Okay.
definitely competing.
Mm-hmm. Kelsey?
Yeah, same.
Same.
Leads, cold.
Cold?
Mine are all referral.
There you go.
Yeah, repeat clients. I don't do cold call pretty much ever. Unless I mean, if someone calls me off of a sign, which happens, they'll say, oh, I see your listing over here on such and such street and I'm driving by and blah, blah, blah. And I don't even know where I'm at. Well, do you need an agent? I'd be happy to show you around. That kind of thing does happen occasionally, but my business is all sphere.
So all's fair. Okay, good. So what I want you to do if we're taking notes and observing this is take notes of the different styles and the different types of businesses and then see which ones resonate with you. Which ones you're like, okay, I might need to work on this area. This sounds good to me, right? So learn the lesson of what each one of these people are doing. One of the things I want to talk about in the pregame, so part of the pregame for me is the CMA. When do you do a CMA? Do you give them an actual price or do you give them a range? What is your style? Do you do it before you meet them? So when you will go to the house, you already have a pretty good idea? Or do you wait, go blank slate, look at the house, talk to them? So what's your style, Tony?
I do everything before the meeting. I will do a full CMA, but I'll have a range for myself to fall back on. But I pretty much know where I want to be when I meet them. But I do all the homework up front so that when I show up to the house, the expert and walk you through the door.
So you already have a number in mind.
I have everything done. Everything.
Okay.
What is everything?
Everything is a full listing presentation, a full analysis of their home and the market. I've educated myself on the stats. Comps, all the comps. I bring everything, everything I can possibly think of to answer every single question that they may have.
What do you leave behind with you?
Nothing. I leave my business card.
Nice.
We're going to talk about that. That'll be a whole nother topic we can is what do you guys give them and leave behind?
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. Yeah.
So you're ready to go. So well, we'll get to that in a minute, but you're probably a one-step kind of a guy then.
Well, I like this 1-step, 2-step question,
Uh-huh.
you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, when we
Talk
get to
about
it. Well, I think that there's a definition to it all, and maybe these guys can educate me on it, but I'm a whatever step it takes, you know? I'll list them I'll have them sign that night, or if it's, hey, tomorrow morning, or I'll email you the contracts tonight, or hey, can you follow up with me the next day? Like whatever it takes, you know, there's no set, I'm not going in with this attitude that I'm not going to leave without the signing. You know, I don't do that.
So sometimes you get it listed right then, sometimes you don't.
Absolutely.
That's
Yeah. Sign it that night.
Okay.
Which is great. Feels great.
Right? Yeah.
So Dave, on the CMA, when do you do it? Do you come up with a number or do you give them a range? How do you do it?
So just like Tony, I've got everything ready to go before I get there. The only time I might not, and this doesn't happen very often, but every once in a while, like I'll meet a client, and maybe it's like an op city lead, and I'm meeting him at a house and I'm showing it, and then they're like, oh, by the way, we're selling. I'm like, great, let's go see the house. Like in that
Might be an
scenario,
impromptu thing.
yeah, because I'd rather get over there and have that happen. But that's most of the time, like 99% of the time, I am doing everything I can up front. So yeah, market analysis. My goal when I'm sitting down to do my CMA is I want to have more knowledge about their house and their neighborhood and their area than they do. Absolutely. Because they're definitely going to know if I don't.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it makes a big difference. Yeah. So I go in with a range because I don't know what I'm walking into. Somebody might say my house is immaculate, it's perfect. You get there and it's like all DIY. And
Right.
like,
Yeah.
this is not what I was expecting. So
Right.
I do have a range in my head. Sometimes I'll talk about the range with them when we get to the point of pricing. Sometimes I'll say like, this is our magic number, and I'll tell them why. And it really, some of that's a little bit flexible, like it's just knowing the situation and seeing how they are. Sometimes depending on their situation, like they legitimately, I'll give them the option like, hey, here's a range of our prices. And on one end of the spectrum is time, on the other end of the spectrum is money. So you need to decide what's most important to you.
I like that line.
And I let them
Absolutely.
decide.
It's a good line.
But yeah, I feel like there's one other piece of that question that I'm.
So you give them a range. You do, one step or two step we were kind of talking about. And typically it's
I would
whatever.
say that I'm with Tony on that. I don't try to be rigid about I'm going to get this and I'm not walking out the door without something signed, because I wouldn't want to be in that position. And I'm confident in what I'm doing. And if they don't choose to go with me, I'm also okay with it. I do enough business that it's okay. So I think having that attitude helps.
Big time.
And I can tell them like, listen, I understand, because they'll tell you like, oh, we're meeting with other agents. Great. I get that. I would do the same thing. That's a smart move. So when you're done with that, when is your next meeting so I can know when I should follow up with you, and I make sure I have that time schedule to do it. But yeah, I'm not rigid about getting them to sign. If they do, it's fantastic. I have it ready to go. I do take the paperwork with me just in case, but
Right. Okay.
it's okay if they're not ready.
How about you, Kelsey? And by the way, I love Brent and you guys, Gina, interject anytime. Ask whatever. Something pops into your mind. Go ahead. So Kelsey, CMAs?
Very similar. Definitely spend a lot of time on the CMA, and I try to do it immediately because you never want to push it too close to the appointment where you're rushing through it and you don't have it done in time. Just if you get the appointment, do the CMA and make sure that you are the most knowledgeable person at that appointment, because you don't want them to bring up, well, my neighbor who just went
Right.
pending 6 months ago and you have no idea about it. You don't want to be
But
there.
isn't it great when they say, well, my neighbor was listed higher than that? And
You're like,
yeah,
yep, but this is why.
Yeah.
Yes. This is actually one of my comps and this is why. Yeah. And I definitely.
Yes, but they were on the market for 109.
Exactly. And you know that. You know exactly how many days they were on. If they reset their days, you know everything about all of your comps, everything. So I spend a lot of time on my CMA. That's my most important part of my whole entire
Kelsey, how
presentation.
do you use the CMA out of the MLS? This is
Never.
what I've done.
Never.
I get my opinion and then I do it in the MLS, and
It's always off. It's always off. It's like looking at the ADMs.
Yeah.
it's like Zillow almost.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's like looking at the Zestimate, which I always look at, just
Because that's good.
extra knowledge. They look exactly,
Yeah,
and that's
they-
why I tell them. I know that you've looked at it. I know that your neighbors look at it. But when I also do my listing, there's a little box you can check that won't show up when you go live. So when usually it has the Zestimate, it's not there, which is great. So if you do a listing,
do a class on just CMAs, how to do a
Yeah,
CMA.
sure. That'd be good.
Yeah, because I do it probably entirely. Actually, we both started on the same team, so we probably do our CMAs very similar,
Yeah, well,
possibly.
possibly, yeah.
Yeah, maybe some variation.
I lean in on the
Oh, yeah.
Zillow stuff,
Oh, okay.
which I'll explain.
Yeah.
I can explain that, but I use that as a massive weapon when I'm talking about price. Is that whole AVM stuff? So,
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
good to know. Thanks.
Yeah. But on the appointment, when I'm talking to them on the phone, if maybe they've owned the home for 20 years and you're looking through the old MLS pictures and it could be totally different. So I like to know, have you done any renovations? What have you done to the house? And like he mentioned, they could make it out to be this just immaculate place. And you get there and you're like, well, maybe not so much.
Wipe your feet on the way out.
Yeah, exactly. Keep the shoes on this one. But I always have a range and I have comps within that range. So it's very easy to show, okay, well, we're here, but I also have a team, which you guys should, I recommend having like contractors, professional move out cleaners, stagers, you have photographers that you like to work with because you lean heavily into that while you're doing your presentation. Like, well, we could list it this, but if you guys are open to let's repaint, let's do refloor, we're going to stage, we're going to do all these things. We could list you guys for substantially more.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you.
So it just depends on what they're willing to do. And I found the more knowledge that you provide, the more willing that they're going to do that because it's going to net them more money. Ultimately, if they have the time that they could just put in and you have an amazing contractor that you work with, I have one that I just don't even know what I would do if I lost him because he works with me on almost every single listing. And, talking about that also helps you kind of sign it at the end because it's like, well, I know my stager's booked out a couple weeks, but why don't we get on it? Because I know that you're in a hurry finding out their why. And then you can get them to sign. Because you spent so much time and energy getting this appointment, the time commitment in doing the CMA, just getting the listing appointment period is hard. Driving there, the easiest thing on the planet is after your presentation saying, hey, I would absolutely love to work with you on this. How about, do you want to get started? So asking for the business. Easiest thing on the planet. Ask for it.
I love that. So I just wrote two big things. You guys are taking notes. One, lean into a team. That's awesome advice. I can't believe how many people don't ask for the business. I'm glad you just said that, by the way. I think it's really important when you leave. I would love to work with you. Like, make it clear and then ask for the business. I mean, a lot of agents kind of don't do that for whatever reason. So I'm glad you said that, Kelsey. So write down these nuggets of things that you guys are going to incorporate into your presentations as well. And one step or two step, or does it matter to you? Thoughts?
It doesn't matter. I am insane on my follow-up. I always find out, well, are you interviewing other agents? Because I feel like 95% of the time they are for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm interviewing other agents. Well, when are you done interviewing agents? They tell you, do you mind if I follow up that evening? And they almost always say yes. And then I put a reminder on my calendar and I always call them that evening. If I don't get a hold of them, I call them the next day. And I call them the next day. I email them, I text them. I mean, like I said, the time commitment put into each one of these presentations or appointments, you've got to do your follow-up. Yeah. But if you can sign on the spot,
Do it.
do it.
So you're ready.
Always be prepared to go through the entire contract because some people also want you going line by line. Some people just want to sign it.
Yeah.
Be prepared to do both.
Good.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kelsey.
Yeah.
Jaylene, how about you? So when you do a CMA, how do you do it? Do you do a range? Or
Yeah, I
a
do
price?
mine all. I do it all before I go, but I do a range like everybody else, I think, because you don't want to lock yourself into a number with someone when you haven't even been in the house yet most of the time. And in my case, I'm going in. I've never not got the listing, and I've got because it's all my sphere
Right.
or people that know me through someone else. I'm not going in on a cold call.
Yeah.
We have a mutual contact, on listings. There's been maybe twice that I've gone in and they know me through someone else, but they're interviewing other agents. And I'm fine with that. I'm with Dave on that. If I don't get the listing, I'm okay with it. I feel like there's a reason for that. And because I'm a Christian and I believe firmly that God is guiding my path. And if I get the listing, fantastic. If I don't, there's a reason.
Another one.
Yeah, there's a
Another
good
one.
reason in there. And I did bring some of the stuff that I do.
Good. I want to talk about
Like
that.
this is what I do.
Oh,
I put it like a personalized presentation together. I use pictures from their home if I can get it off.
I
of
have the same binder, spiral bind.
I do everything
I do
this way.
that. I have the same thing. So if anybody wants to use it,
And then I just put
Amazing.
the client detail with the comps that I've done. And I do the CMA on the MLS
You do?
after I've done mine.
okay.
So I do mine and then I see, and it's never the same. And it's like, where did it even get this
Yeah.
comp from? It's
Yeah.
like 10 miles away from the property.
Yeah.
It's like dumb.
Right.
But anyway, so I did bring stuff that I do, and I do always go, you ask what you leave behind. I never go to a listing without a gift,
I'm the same.
ever.
Ah.
Because there's almost always a feeling of they've done something for me, I got to do something for them. And I've learned that over the years, especially like even open houses, if you give them something, they're almost always willing to return, like feedback or whatever. So I did bring samples of what I do and my team does. I have a real estate team. So everybody on my team, Melissa's on my team, we as a team do the same thing. So
Okay.
if I do it, they do it, they do it, I do it.
So you bring up a really good point. If you guys are readers at all, if anybody likes to read, Influence, The Psychology of Persuasion is one of the best sales books ever written, Robert Cialdini. And they talk about the law of reciprocity, which is exactly what she's talking about. The law of reciprocity, which is why you get little calculators in the mail or pennies from companies in an envelope, or even like little calculator dollar bills I would get from companies, right? He's like, what is that? It's amazing, the statistics. And that book will go through and teach you the statistics behind you giving them a little something. The Hare Krishnas at the airport would give people a flower. Well, there's a whole chapter on that in the book. Like, why would they do that?
Wild.
I know.
Well, their donations went up like 800% when they started doing that. So it's like law of reciprocity. I'm so glad you said that, Aileen. So that is awesome. So everybody here does their CMA before they go. That's interesting, right?
Oh yeah.
Before they go, because some agents want to I know there's agents that don't do that, so I'm glad to get you guys all do that. I think that's probably what's required this day and age.
And I
Things
tell
move
them,
faster.
right up front, I did this not knowing anything about your property.
Yep.
So, if it's off, it's because of that. I'm only looking at statistical information and I can't make it up. I mean, I look at the criteria within a very fine window, which I know the appraiser is going to do. Like I'm following whatever the guideline of what an appraiser will do when they're going to appraise that home. So I'm not listing that property outside of the market because that's embarrassing.
So let's talk about one thing real quick. So I want to get to the next topic, but showing up on time and being prepared. You guys have all mentioned being prepared. You mentioned how prepared you are. You know everything inside and out, all the comps. It's amazing how many realtors don't do those two basic things. Show up on time.
Wow.
Yeah, seriously.
It's horrible. I can't
Show
imagine.
up on time and prepared. Right?
15 minutes early.
I'm usually a little bit early
too.
or leave early because you don't know what's going to happen with traffic. And
Yeah, same. I'd be so stressed out about that.
So you guys are, when do you show up, Tony? Like
So
if it's 6:30, we're meeting at 6:30 tonight. When do you
So I
show up?
usually show up to the neighborhood around 6:15 if the appointment's at 6:30, and I'll drive around the neighborhood and just get a vibe of the neighborhood and maybe look for some of the comps that are in that specific neighborhood, and so that I can reference it when I'm sitting down with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that what you guys all do?
Yeah.
Something like that. Okay, good.
Do you leave all this behind?
Yeah.
You do.
We'll get to that. We're going to get to more of her lead binds too, which I think is really good. Okay, that was my next question. Before you go, you can be a little different because most of yours are referrals. Do you send like a pre-listing thing? Do you send them anything before you show up? A video, anything, a social media piece? Do you send anything ahead of time? Because some agents will send it. I used to send a package to people that had a video of me and my company, so I didn't want to talk about me at all when I'm there. I want to talk about them. But I send them all the stuff about me in case they wanted to know before I showed up. Tony, do you do anything like
No,
that?
not at all.
Okay, no
Nothing.
pre-listing stuff.
What's that?
No pre-listing stuff.
No, I don't
Show
send
up
anything.
at the appointment.
If we've set an appointment, and then I show up.
Then you show up.
That's it.
Okay. Dave?
So I do a few different things before I go. So like I've got the appointment. Let's say the appointment is for, well, it doesn't matter, whatever. So like either same day or whenever I'm getting ready to do the CMA, I'll write like the date on a whiteboard and I'll write their address on there and I'll take a photo of that and I'll text it to them and I say, okay, we're starting to work on your property. See you blah, 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 whenever, tomorrow at 3 or whatever. And then I'll also send them an email and I say, here's what to expect in our appointment. We're going to go through that. I'll give them a line, kind of a timeline of what we'll be doing. And I'll always say, don't worry about anything. You don't have to be prepared. I'm going to walk you through the whole thing. And then as part of that text follow-up, I also send a link to a page I have that has all my reviews and everything on that.
Okay. So you're doing a little pre-listing then?
A little
Yeah.
pre-listing stuff, yeah.
I like that. Kelsey, do you do that?
The only thing I send beforehand is a confirmation email, like introducing myself, thanking them, blah, 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 the time of our appointment. And then I always text them the day before, because if I don't get confirmation, because I've actually shown up and nobody's been there. And if you drive a long time, it's very frustrating. So if I don't get the confirmation the day before, I don't go. But that doesn't happen very often.
Right.
And that's it. It's usually after the appointment that I send them stuff.
Okay. What about you? Ahead of time.
Because we know each other. We know we've met each other at some point, or they know me through a friend. I just confirm our appointment the day before.
Sure.
They've already heard about me through someone, and that's how they've contacted me, or it's somebody I know.
Yeah.
So
Okay. So that's good. Some varied ideas of pre-listing stuff or not pre-listing stuff. I like the text stuff. I think that's awesome. So when you get there, okay, living room, when you're in the house, what is your style? Do you walk through the house with a notebook? Do you sit down at the table with them? Like, what do you do when you show up, Tony?
So the first thing I do is, just the regular, introductions and whatnot, and then ask to be toured.
Okay.
I don't write anything down. Not that I'm trying to remember everything, but pretty much I already know, my game plan. And I'm just looking for things that are going to hurt the value or add the value, because I already have that value range. But I try and keep it as low key and conversational and friendly as possible, and without trying to, scribble notes and, just try and build rapport in that. Because remember, I'm going in not knowing anybody. It is a cold meeting. I'm meeting the person for the first time. And so I want to take every single second to build that rapport.
How do you do it, Dave?
Very similar. Yeah. I always ask them to give me a tour of the house first, have them walk me through. I also don't take a notebook with me. Sometimes I'll ask them specifically if I can. I'm like, hey, do you mind if I take a few photos or videos while we're looking at it? That way, if anything does stand out to me, it's not weird. I'm just like, I get the permission up front. But yeah, I also, I don't know if I'm purposeful about it, but if I'm maybe really thinking about it, it's probably to be able to build that rapport as well. Whereas if I'm standing there like a detective taking notes, it feels a little bit off. It doesn't feel like me. So yeah, I agree with that.
Okay.
I take notes the whole time.
Yeah. Here we go.
On the front of my folder. Yeah.
Good.
On the front of my folder, I have a blank piece of paper, just paper
Ready to go.
clipped
Yep.
with my red marker. And actually, as I'm walking up to the house, I'm writing, clean those windows,
Yep.
Yeah.
paint the trim.
Right.
We need to power wash this. You need to trim
Yep.
these. So I'm already writing notes. And then as I go in, and it's very sloppy, I'm very fast, but I can read it. That's always
Right.
important.
Like a doctor.
Yep. And then I go in, obviously introduce myself like you guys, always tour the house first. But as I'm touring the house, I'm writing recommendations, suggestions as I'm talking to them, because that comes in my follow-up email. So of everything that we talked about, but also for me. So I know, what if I don't do the listing for 6 months? I have all my notes and follow-up
You
boss.
remember everything.
Right.
Yeah.
I already know everything. They don't have to remind me of anything. I already have everything down. So, but yeah, I'm talking to them. I'm asking them questions. I'm building rapport as I'm touring the house. But yeah, I'm
Taking notes.
constantly
Good.
writing.
I love it.
Right.
What about you, Dana?
I do too. I take notes the whole
So 50-50.
time.
Here we go.
I make note of everything in the house
like a
that I would be
female
marketing.
Right.
But again, I know them, so I mean, it's kind of different. I almost already expect I'm getting the listing, so I'm not gonna
Right.
want to come back again
Right.
and go through and write all that stuff
Yeah.
down and stuff we're gonna put in the marketing. So
So none of you really do a true two-step, right?
No.
So a true two-step would be the very first time you show up, It's just taking notes, asking them about the property. You lived here for 20 years, Tony. What do you like about it? And I walk through the house. I make all of my comments to myself, all this. Then I'll say, you know what? I've really got a great idea now what your house is like, the neighborhood. I'm going to go back and do my CMA now. You go do a CMA because you've been in the house. Now you can have an accurate CMA because you've seen it with your own eyes. Tomorrow at 5 o'clock, we're going to meet again. Then you go back and present and get the listing. That's a 2-step. A 1-step is kind of what everybody here is prepared to do, which is you might just get it right then. And you hopefully that you do. And if you don't, you're going to turn it into a 2-step or a 3-step or whatever it takes, right?
Right.
Yeah. Okay. That's good. I like the philosophy, the idea. What are you going in expecting? What are you wanting from this? I mean, obviously you want the listing, but you probably also a little bit of it you wants to see if you want the listing.
Yes.
Precisely.
So let's talk about that a little bit. The psychology of who do you not want to work with, or what kind of a house do you not want to work with? What are you looking for, green flags, red flags when you're there?
So I'm mainly looking for the personality and of course the house. But I think we've all taken some, rough listings. But yeah. But there's also some really nice properties that I've been in where I think I'm going to have an issue here with the person. And we've had a mutual experience on that. And the thing is that I'm looking for and can I work with this person? What's the vibe like? Are they already bullying me? Kind of pushing me around? And if that's the case, then I'm going to start making decisions as we're meeting. Am I going to take this listing?
Right.
But I still give even if I'm like, there's no way I'm working with this person, I'm still giving 110% in that listing presentation.
How do you get out of that? If the person's like, you just don't want to work with this person or the house or whatever it is.
choose you.
Well, yeah, it's hard. It's hard. And what?
It just refers them to me.
Yeah, exactly.
I got a great agency.
Yep.
And he killed it. He took care of it, which props to him. The thing is, if they choose you, then it's a matter of it's almost like I'm going to insert myself, kind of take my experience level and just like insert it and say, hey, this is what it's like. This is what we're going to do. And really kind of be a little bit more aggressive in the, not mean or whatever, but
Taking the lead.
yeah, really kind of push in and lean. Whereas if it was somebody else, it's kind of like you just kind of go with the flow and, make it a little bit more organic. But if it's somebody that you just got to put your foot down and, and it is what it is. And if they fire you, then, well, you got fired, Yeah.
Dave, is that similar for you? I mean, have you ever found yourself in that situation going, I don't know if I want to take this listing?
I mean, I would say I'm pretty easygoing and pretty not that Tony's not, but it just
Tony's uptight.
well, you mentioned you mentioned something like if there's ever like a house, I'm like, even in that scenario, for the right price, like as long as the house is priced correctly, it'll, as long as they're realistic about it, even if it's, a tear down or a really, terrible condition property or whatever, I wouldn't let that deter me necessarily, because again, as long as they're willing to work within the parameters of the data that I'm providing them, right? It's not like I'm just pulling numbers out of thin air and making them up. As long as I can get them on board with, here's what the data is showing and here's where it needs to be, then I'm pretty open to working with everybody. I think it's rare that I have somebody that I feel like it's going to be a clash of personalities or something, but it happens. I mean, and to be frank, like I'd say probably more in hindsight, I've had properties I'm like, maybe I shouldn't have taken this listing. And at that point, it's
too late.
It's too late. Whatever. So I would say that is an area of improvement probably for me, if anything. Like
Making those decisions up front.
yeah.
What about you, Kelsey?
The only listings I've ever turned down is because they had an unrealistic price expectation.
Yeah.
And I could show because I always try to get my sellers the absolute, what is the max that I can get them? What is the highest number that I can get them? And when they want to go way higher than that, and I can show without a doubt, that's as high as you can go, that's your ceiling, then I have to just let them know that I'm probably not the right agent to work with them. And I've had to do that before, but that's the only time I've ever turned a listing down. Although there was one that she had sold like 5 or 6 houses and she had something bad to say about every single one of her agents. And I was like,
You're next.
and I took the listing anyway.
Right.
I don't think I would do it next time because she had only been there 3 months. I sold it for more than what she bought it for in a week, and easy transaction. And she just yelled at me. And I'm like, I don't even know what you're upset about. So I just became another one of those agents that she's gonna, so
Whatever.
that I don't know if I would take that.
Right. It's not worth the emotional abuse.
But generally the red flag is, well, my house is worth 100,000 more than that. No, it's not. And so you're just going to waste your time, your money, it's just not worth it.
And Jaylee, you probably don't get that as much because of your clientele, right?
Yeah.
People you know and your past clients. And,
Yeah, and they pretty much just listen to me. I have a listing right now though that I've worked for these people for 10 years. I've bought and sold for them and their family probably 8 times.
Okay.
I've had their listing on the market for 3.5 years. I have about $23,000 invested in this listing over the 3 years. And it's price. It's 100% price. And I've told them that many times. And in fact, I told them, let's let it expire this year. Let's just let it expire. 'Cause this is a unique property. And this happens with unique properties. It's kind of a luxury acreage property and just unique in everything about it is unique. And so I said, let's let it expire and then we'll relist it like in February or March. And they said, okay. And so she had 4 agents come out and the call on expires.
Tony
Tony might have been one of them. And so she had them all come over and they all told her 1.5, you need to list at 1.5. We're listed at 1 point. She just finally dropped it to 1.750. 1.750. I think she could. I had an appraisal done last year. I paid for Chris Stiles, who I had come last year and talk. He's awesome. I had him do a table appraisal for me on it for her. Cost about $500.
Yep.
Sent it over and it did come in. The appraisal did come in between 1.650 and 1.8. At the time we were at 1.8 something.
Yeah.
So it kind of, defeated but anyway, I think they could sell it at 1.7. I do. I think it would sell at 1.7. I think we can get an appraisal. And this is the thing I say with people that want to come in high. Okay, great. We'll list it at that. What's going to happen when the appraisal doesn't come in though? Because I'm not in control of that. The lender for the buyer is.
Well, that's
then what are you
cash.
going to do? And if it's a cash, then have at it. I mean, that's all you're going to be hoping for is a cash offer because you're not going to get an appraisal.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, you got to go with the comps. This is what the appraisal's going to do. I mean, they're going to pick out these same properties I picked out unless it takes us 7 months to sell. Then, of course, we're going to have a whole new list of comps, right? So, but anyway, that one on Idaho
that.
Boulevard is
Like,
What would you say you spent the 20,000 on?
a lot. Like I put
What are kind of-
magazines. I've had that in 3 publications. I put all of my homes on Preview of Homes. Tom Fitzsimmons is he's a friend of mine, and I put everything on there, especially if it's been on for more than a month. If it's on the market more than 30 days, it automatically goes on. I don't care if it's a $300,000 property or a $5 million property. It's going on there. If it's just land or whatever, anything that's struggling to sell will go on there. And so I had Idaho Boulevard probably for the last 3 years on at least 100 times. At least 100 times.
Wow.
And Tom will work with me because I do so much on his show that he'll actually give me some discounts on the properties that are struggling to sell and help me out a little bit and not charge me the full fee, but because he's rerunning it. But then I took it off and I told him last hour to take it off and we're going to leave it off for 6 months and then I'll put it back on again because it's just looking old anyway. I've had 6 different photo shoots done at that property
Oh, wow.
since the listing.
Is this
It has the indoor pool, and that's been a problem. There's a lot of problems because some people either they hate it, they don't want it, they don't want to deal with it, or they love that, but they don't want the primary suite upstairs. And it's an upstairs. It's just the primary suite is the only thing up the stairs. So you walk in, this primary suite, and then everything else is on the main level, and then they do have a below grade. And it's just a very unique property. So between magazines, pushing it out on Facebook to different markets, once a year I've done that. Cherry Festival. This is my 4th Cherry Festival. I did this last Saturday. I organized I called it the Cherry Festival Tour, and I got all of the homes that were priced over $1 million to join me. And I did flyers, had people handing out flyers at the Cherry Festival with the home tour of where to go. I did that 2 years in a row. And that had huge, like $500 gift prize that you would win if you for raffles. I had a taco truck last year, or the year before. I had. I mean, I put so much money into trying to market this property. It's ridiculous.
Oh my gosh.
And she said when she interviewed the 4 agents, she said, "Okay, what will you do to market the house?" And not one of them had any suggestion. She's like, "Well, Julian's done all this stuff," and she knows how much I'm invested in it. She knows. I've told her. It's not a secret. But it takes money to market properties.
That's
Have you found that you get any buyers from any additional marketing that any of you do outside of the MLS? Does that actually bring buyers for properties? Have you seen that?
I have.
I would say on occasion, an open house will bring a buyer, but I've had it happen maybe 3 times in 12 years here. You're doing open houses to get clients, really. I mean, I don't even like doing that personally, me, because I want to sell my client's house. I'm not out trying to get a buyer. But if you're a newer agent and you don't have that sphere, that's where you're going to get clients, really, because you're in there, you're showing how well you can manage an open house. I have food, I have beer, I have wine, I have soda, I have snacks, I give them treats, I give them something to take away with them. I mean, they don't just come in and tour the house. I have stuff for them to take with them. And then you get a call. Could you
go to
list
your
my
open house?
No, and I've had people say that. When I list my house, I'm calling you. I mean, seriously, that's what happens. You get somebody to call and say, "Hey, you know what? I want to list my house. I really like what you did at your open house. Would you come do a listing appointment?"
So there's the law of reciprocity in action again, right?
Have
Jalen's
something-
great at this stuff. So one
Always
thing
give something
Jalen said
away.
that I loved was, so this is going to transition us into our next topic, which is commissions. When people want to go higher, I just want to list it for a hire for a couple of weeks and see what happens. I love that question. Okay, what are you going to do when the appraisal doesn't come in then, right? Put it back on them. Don't fight them. Don't say yes or no, or put it right back on them. It's like, okay, we can do that. Catch the pass. Like I always talk about catch the pass. If somebody gives you an objection, you catch the pass and you say, okay, so what are you going to do when the appraisal comes in here instead of here?
Well, and I think also
And
when
let
you
them answer.
have all the information, like the market dynamics are incredibly important to have because you know exactly, okay, well, you're in your subdivision and they've had a lot of, sales or whatever in the past 18 months. This is the average days on market. And it's 17. You know that and obviously you're going to get your most activity right as soon as you list.
Yeah.
So you really want to,
Knowing your numbers, right?
utilize on that. But knowing your numbers, okay, that tells you exactly when we need to adjust.
Yeah.
Right. So having that information and letting them know beforehand, like, hey, we're going to, we could test the market because you do have a special property. But if nothing happens, like if we have a lot of activity and no offers, or we have nothing and it's crickets, we need to adjust immediately to stay on top of it.
Well, and I like what you said about not fighting them. I always tell my clients, like in this transaction, you are the CEO of this sale. I'm just the COO. So you're relying on my expertise and my experience, but at the end of the day, you're making all the decisions. And it helps because then it's when it comes, if there is a price reduction conversation that we have to have, if there is something else, it's not a fight. It's we're on the same team. I'm presenting data and information, but ultimately as the CEO of this, you're making the final decision.
Yeah.
I tell people the same thing.
So I love 2 things I'm getting from this panel a lot. One, confidence. Do you notice how they all talk? They know what the hell they're talking about because they've done the numbers, they've done the homework, they know the comps, how many days on market. Even Kelsey said if it was taken off and relisted again. So people trying to trick other people, like I'll take it off for 30 days and then relist it and it starts over. That's not going to get buyer. So confidence comes from knowing things, knowing your number. They don't go into a listing, I'm going to get this listing. It's like they already know all this stuff. That's a big takeaway from this panel, I think, so far. So thank you guys for exemplifying that. The next thing, let's talk about commission. How do you talk about commission? Do you bring it up? Do you let them bring it up? Do you say, here's what it is? What if they fight you on it? Let's just talk about that a little bit. What is your style, Tony?
So I don't.
So by the way, those of you who came in a little bit late, the three on the left here, Tony, Dave, and Kelsey, pretty much do cold listings. And they're pretty much competing for them. And Jaylene does all sphere and past client stuff. So there was a little bit of a difference in how we might approach these things. Go ahead, Doug.
Yeah, so I don't bring up the topic of commission until I talk about the net sheet towards the end of the presentation. A lot of times when I'm making the cold calls for the expired canceleds, they will ask that right out of the gate.
What's your commission?
What's your commission?
Yep.
And I always say it starts at 3%, but it's always negotiable, blah, 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 blah. I go through that whole spiel. And when the conversation comes up to, will you reduce your commission? I always say, that's absolutely an option. And we can discuss that when we meet, because I want to gauge that temperature with them. First off, I don't want to shut the door and just say, no, it's 3% and that's it. I want to meet them and gauge their temperature, because if it's going to cost me $23,000 to sell a property, I'm not producing my commission. And I can only gauge that once I meet them. Now, if they're like, I have to fire sell this thing, it has to be gone before July, which is in 2 weeks. I need as much as I can. Then I'm like, okay, thank you for sharing that. Let's figure out how we're going to do this. We need to be here. If this is market, we need to be here. And then, of course, I will make a concession, but I have to gauge the temperature before I even just say, yeah, no problem.
Don't you feel like, though, when you tell them, we can absolutely talk about that they instantly know it's up for negotiation.
Absolutely.
That 3% is off the table at that point, I feel like.
Yeah, and you're right. And it's kind of like those Facebook marketplace ads that says OBO. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Who's going to pay full price when you see OBO? However, I'm always going to lean back and say, look, this house is going to take a lot more marketing. We're going to have to be in the Cherry Festival 4 times for the next 10 years. So I just absolutely cannot do that as much as you want me to. And if you need that, and I'm thinking I need this for marketing, maybe I'm not the agent for you, But yeah, absolutely. It does bring a challenge. You're gonna have that conversation, but like in my presentation, I'm intentional with what I'm doing, and I'm saying I'm setting myself up for their objections. Like, oh, I have that answer of the marketing.
What if they say, well, we're fine with you getting 3%, but we want the seller agent to get
Say, hell yeah, let's go for it.
Yeah. Sorry.
Well, that's what I did.
Yeah. Well,
Sorry.
and
That's negotiable.
I've been around. I've put my fingers in those pies as well. Well, we only want to do 5. I always go, great. Then I need the 3 for all the marketing. We'll offer that, but I just want to caution you, setting them up for the future. I need to caution you when an offer comes in, they most likely are going to ask for that extra percent. Oh, well, will you reduce half? I can, but we need to figure out where we're going to be, and we need to understand your pricing. So.
We'll wait till the offer comes in. We'll deal with it.
Well, yeah, kind of. But what I like to do, and the other thing that works so great, is attack that conversation with a lot of enthusiasm, and really, as much as maybe they want to, okay, we're fine. You just kind of keep going a little bit more to show that I'm really invested in talking about it, because a lot of agents, they're like, no. Or they try and figure a way not to talk about it.
Right.
But I, try and address the elephant in the room, so to say. Yeah.
That's exactly what I said.
Yeah.
What do you do, Dave? If they talk about, first of all, they haven't objected yet. You're just bringing up commission. How do you bring it up?
So the way I frame it is I let them know, like, to list your house, I'm going to charge you 3%. It's still common practice for the sellers in a transaction to pay for a buyer's agent to bring a ready and able buyer to purchase your property. And what that looks like is going to depend on the overall financial picture of those offers. So if somebody comes in, first weekend on the market, strong offer, it looks like we're going to be able to get to the closing table, solid deal, we might reward that with a 3% commission to that buyer's agent. If they come in and it's a little bit under asking, or they're asking for extra concessions and things like that, we're not going to turn that away necessarily out of hand. We might be able to look at the overall picture and say, we can make this work, but in order to do that, we're going to have to come in and say 2.5%, 2.25%, 2.17%, whatever it's going to be. At the end of the day, we need to make sure it financially works for you as the seller, but I don't want to commit you to what that percentage is on the buyer's agent side until we have the entire financial picture.
That brings me, real quick question for all of you. I don't want to digress too much, but when you list it, do you tell the buyer's agent what you're offering, or do you say, bring us an offer?
Bring us an offer.
Never will say. So I've got it, in fact, I've got it saved as a text on my phone for when I get those text messages from Silver Creek agents especially who ask, what's
What are you
the
paying
buyer's
for buyer
agent
agent
commission?
commission?
I
Put it
say,
in the offer.
Bring the
bottom
offer.
line is what's most important to my sellers, and so a strong offer will equal strong buyer's agent compensation.
Yeah, bring me an offer. Tony, you're
Bring me an
smiling.
offer.
Well, I was just smiling because I've experimented with all of it.
Yeah.
Telling them up front, it's, giving, that, language in the text. And it's been entertaining,
I bet.
But
Makes agents mad.
I've
yeah,
had other agents get mad at me. I've had them
Yeah.
ask specifically, so you're telling me that in your RE16, this is,
Yeah.
I'm like, you're not privy to that information.
Right.
This
Yeah.
is not between you and,
Yeah.
it's like,
So, because here's my view on it. There's what should happen, in my opinion, and then there's reality. of how it
Yeah,
does it.
right.
What should happen, I'm not going to negotiate against myself. I represent the seller. If Jaylene is my seller, I'm not going to put in there a BAC. Because if I could have saved her money, that's my job, is to save her money. And if the BAC is going to be part of the transaction, I'm not going to put out there 3 when they would have paid me 2. Now I just did her a disservice.
Yeah.
So I think the way it should be is a buyer should bring it in. The seller should just say, bring your offer.
Yeah.
Yes.
Jaylene and I are privy to what she's paying me, and then you guys bring an offer for what we're going to pay the buyer, and then we'll decide. That's how I think it should happen. Now, here's reality that pisses off a lot of agents because they don't want to have that conversation with their client. So now they won't show Jaylene's house because they don't know if they're going to even get paid on it, right? So most of the time, I've looked through thousands of listings, guys. Most of the time, people are offering a BAC. I don't agree with it personally. That's why I wanted to get your guys' take on it. But because I think it should be the buyer agent should bring it,
Yeah.
and then we'll deal with it.
every once in a
That's what I
while
think.
too, like I've got one right now who we know right now what she's going to be offering because she really is at her bottom line. Like she can't be anywhere else. Even in that scenario though, when I get a phone call from an agent and they ask about it, I'm not going to tell them that she's offering only 2% on this or anything because I want them to bring an offer. And then we can negotiate at that point. And maybe, even though we're at our bottom line right now, maybe even it'll be a matter of, I really just need this to be done and let's just take it and go. Like that could be too, like whatever, it doesn't matter, but it's the same on the other side. Like when I don't ask before I go show a property, like I don't care. I'm going to ask for what I want to get. So why am I going to ask you?
And Jamie,
even if you
you
tell
do
me
that
it's
too.
1, I'm still going to come in and ask for 3. So
I educate my clients, and I started with the law change 2 years ago.
Yeah.
It's at the end of our appointment.
April
They
24th.
see everything I'm going to provide. That folder I do hard stock print materials for flyers when people come in. I have folders. It's nicely put together. I'll spend a couple $100 on that. I have the staging crew come in and do a staging consult that I pay for, a couple $100. I do photography, 3D tour, you name the whole 9 yards, 700 to 1,500 depending on the property for the photos. Everything's high quality. I've already sold them on that. I don't think I need to even talk about compensation for me at that point. I think they already get the picture. But I educate them on compensation at the end, and I say the rules have changed. This is what's going to happen. It's going to come in on an offer. You're going to tell me what you're willing to pay them right now in this agreement on the RE16. However, that could change because of this rule change. It becomes part of the negotiation of a contract.
Yep.
It's even outside of what we even know right now.
Yep.
And same with Dave. I don't tell the other agent. I very rarely even have people call and ask that anymore. I think I've had someone ask that maybe twice in the last 6 months.
pretty common the first
now.
year
Oh
after.
yeah,
Yeah, right, immediately
I did
after it
it.
was-
Yeah.
I did. I call and ask, and I educate my clients, and I say, listen. If they do ask, do you want me to tell them? Because really, it's up to them. They're the ones that are telling me what to do. Not like Dave said, you're the CEO. I'm just your operations manager. But anyway, I tell them, hey, do you want me to tell them? And they'll say, yeah, tell them. And I'll say, okay. Now, if I tell them it's only 2%, I do want you to be ready that they may say, okay, well, maybe I'll call you back if I don't find another property, because I'm going to go over and do, and then in addition to that, they could just write 3% on the contract, and if you get a good offer, are you going to turn it down because there's 3% compensation when you only want to pay 2%? I mean, I would talk through those scenarios so that they're fully aware what's going to happen, and very rarely do we even touch on my compensation. I mean, sometimes they'll say, will you work with me on yours? And I'll say, yes, I will, but I'm not going to provide all of this. Not going to do all of that. I'll do the minimal photographs. I'll just do paper printing of the flyers. I'm not going to do hard card stock. I'm not going to put it on preview of homes. I'm not going to pay for a staging console. I'm not going to do all of that and take a hit on the compensation, because I'm going to spend probably 1%, up to 1% on your listing.
Right.
And I'm not doing it for 1% because I pay my broker. I got to pay my TC. I got to pay my admin. I've got fees associated with this too. So I just tell them the truth. I very rarely have any pushback on that.
So Kelsey, we haven't talked to you about commission. How do you deal with it?
Yeah, no, very similar. I feel like if you nail your listing presentation, you're confident, you rely on your experience, you give a very good value proposition, they almost never ask about it. Like it's
Right.
3%. Oh, okay. Well, what about the other side? When we talk about the other side, I say, yeah, we can, minus 3% because of, obviously I've already told them all the reasons why. That's why they're hiring me. That's why they But on the buyer side, I do say, we can negotiate that. We talk about whether or not we're going to let them know what we're providing. But like a listing I just sold in Eagle, I told him we could potentially bring that down to 2%. We had a buyer come in day 1. I think it had been like 10 hours. Full price, cash,
Nice.
provided proof of funds, signed the property disclosure. The agent, I know her, she's amazing. I know she can get it to the closing table. And he brought it up and he's like, so you did say we could negotiate down to 2%. And I said, hey, listen, I don't think you want to do that here. This is the cleanest offer I've seen in a long time. We have nothing to counter offer. It's full price, cash offer. We're going to close in 2 weeks. Amazing agent, definitely worth the 3%. He's like, okay, I trust you. Got him 3%. So I do fight for the buyers if I think that if it's a clean offer, if it's a good offer, if it's everything that they're wanting, it's like they brought you exactly what you wanted.
That's a good
Without
point.
them, you don't have a buyer.
Right.
Period. So
Yeah, one
and
point
so
Kelsey
they
just
give
made
him the 3%.
is a really good point. Be a good agent. Reputation carries weight in this industry. If people are like, oh, Rick wrote an offer on this house, great. Haley, you want to write an offer on this house? Brent, you got anybody? He's
Yeah.
like, I don't want to deal with Rick. Like, if you have that reputation,
Or multiple offers when it's like, ooh, I've worked with that person before. Ooh, that is not a clean offer. There's a lot missing.
Yeah.
They look like they don't have a lot of experience.
yeah.
This one, maybe not a great lender. Like everything that goes into it, we're looking at
Or
that.
just a matter
all
of,
of it.
oh man, Kelsey and I have worked on 3 deals together and it was always a great experience. These
Always
two
a good
identical
experience.
offers.
It's like, oh, go with. I mean, I don't want to tell you what to do, but
Right. Yeah.
I know that he's going to get it done.
Yeah. So let's go to the last thing, leave behinds. So I want you to talk about your stuff. So Tony, you don't leave anything behind. What do you, like after you've met with the person, you talked about stuff, you've taken your own notes or whatever, you'd say if you got the listing, obviously you have the form signed. I'm assuming you do it right there. But if you didn't get the listing, you're going to follow up. What do you give them, leave them? What do you?
Yeah, like I said, I leave my business cards behind. And again, just two absolutely, like almost like this spectrum here, like working the expired and canceled, I know that I'm competing with other agents. And similar to lenders, when they're competing, they're whatever they call that, their sheet is, shopped. And I don't want my stuff shopped to the next agent.
Yep.
And I used to bring paper, just, like all this and, go through my presentation and they'd always ask, can I have this? Can I keep it? And then now all of a sudden I'm saying no, or I'm leaving it because I feel bad. But when I have mine on an iPad and so it's just, I can't leave it and it's obvious. So, yeah.
But you set a follow-up If you didn't get it right then,
Oh yeah, no, the follow up.
we're gonna meet tomorrow at 3:00 or whatever. You
Yeah,
set
the follow up.
follow-up.
Yeah, if that's a leave behind, then yes, I leave expectations.
Yes.
The next, I always call it the next logical step that works best for you, and whatever that may be, we decide on that, and then that's what we go forward with.
Do they ask you for more?
More what?
Anything than the card?
No, because I bring it electronically. They don't ask. Like at times, maybe somebody might say, "Hey, can you email me this?"
Yeah.
And I'll email them a version of my listing presentation,
Okay.
just so that they could have it. But I have not been asked for anything since I stopped bringing the paper.
And that kills that whole objection. I love it.
Yeah.
What do you leave, Dave?
So actually, I really like the idea of having an actual gift. I think I'm going to steal that and start doing that because I do
I
like
like
that.
that too.
I really like
Do
that.
it. I like that.
But as far as the way I bring my CMA is I print off the agent version of the MLS
The agent
sheets.
full,
And I,
not the client full.
Yeah, exactly, and I do it on purpose because then when they ask if they can have it, I show them, well, no, because this will cost me $500 for each one of these, and we're looking at 10 different properties, so that's a lot of money. And so I have that out on purpose, and because I've got like my notes written all over there, and as I'm going through it, I'm like highlighting different sections of like, here's where yours is different, and here's where this one's better, or yours is better, etc. So I have it all there, but then at the end, I'm packing it all up, putting it into my little folder. When they ask, I show them, can't leave it, sorry. And then just leaving business cards as well. But I do see value in having something like that. So I think
And I don't care
as
if
well.
people shop it. I don't care. I mean,
Yeah.
like I'm sharing with all of you guys. Steal whatever
Yeah.
you want. You know,
Yeah.
this is how it goes back to the compensation too. I'm always trying to sell you guys. You will never find me trying to take a client away from somebody, and you will never find me trying to short sell you. I will always be talking highly about you guys as the agents on the other side of every transaction I ever do, and I always try to leave an impression with my clients that, hey, we are a professional group of people that have respect for one another. And I will never be the one that gets down in the weeds and gets in an argument with another agent or tries to say something bad about another agent, even if they are terrible, because I have had a few. But I'm always like trying to promote and get the most I can for you, for the agent on the other side, because we work hard for what we do, and I pay a lot of money. As you can see, I mean, it's not a cheap business to be in, and I don't ever want us to be like looked at like a car salesman or an attorney, or where it's just bad raps, So I feel like if we all work together to boost each other up and talk highly of each other and do the most we can for one another, it's going to make our businesses better. And we won't have this reputation of, whatever, because I hate that. It's so annoying.
Well said, David. I love that.
Yeah.
Well said. Last one. Do you leave anything, Kelsey?
I don't leave anything, and it's funny, I do the exact same thing. Because it shows that you can't leave it.
Yeah,
You'll
you could have the
you'll
agent
be
full.
fine. But I definitely don't want them to have my CMA. So I don't leave anything. But what I do is the second afterwards, I go home, I create an email. I let them know that I'm going to send them links to current, active, pending, sold listings of mine to give them an idea of how I market my properties. So just keep in mind, whenever you do have a listing, always make sure that it's presented in the best light. You want it looking absolutely incredible, because
Don't take
that's
your own photos.
No.
Not only
Please
because
don't.
it sells that
Please
listing
don't.
better, but it sells you.
Yes, it sells you. It is absolutely you. If they're looking up your listing and they see, oh my gosh, that looks so good. It's staged. The photos are amazing. The light's fantastic. Like it just looks incredible. So I follow up with the email thanking them, and I usually have about 4 links to different listings. And then I also put a net sheet, because at that time I know exactly what I provided a number that I think would be what they should sell for. So provide the net sheet and then marketing information. So I have everything afterwards. And then I also have something to follow up on. Call them the next day. Hey, I sent that email with the net sheet, my links to my listings. Did you receive that? It just gives you another opportunity or reason to follow up with them. Oh, I didn't see it, which is great, because it could have went to their spam. So, but I think that's really important. But yeah.
All right, guys. Final words. Cinnamon,
Well,
thoughts?
I just, like, don't know if this is the correct question at this time, but when you're meeting with them to sign the papers and you have that RE16, like at the bottom, it does have that spot you would fill in, like, in the event I start with you and then it doesn't go forward, or
Do you charge them anything?
do you charge them something?
Mm-hmm.
So, and this might not be the class or the time for this
Like the
conversation.
cancellation?
Cancellation
fee.
Yeah,
I
like,
always have a cancellation
do
fee.
you always have a fee in there, and so do you,
Yeah.
is that something that you're talking with them about? Probably not at that time.
No,
Okay. Okay.
no, it's
I
just part of every single one of my RE16s. I always have a cancellation fee.
Okay.
Does it vary or is it just a set fee?
It's a set percentage. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I've never had anybody complain about it. And when they do ask about it, and I say, oh, it's because, after the time and the marketing and the photos, if for
Yeah.
whatever reason something happens, you guys have to withdraw, that's going to cover all my costs. They're like, oh, okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks.
Well, thank you guys so much for being here this morning.
Yeah.
Learned a lot from you. Appreciate your time.
Yeah.
And we'll keep doing stuff like this and talking about listings, because obviously there's lots of ways to do it.
Yeah.
So,
Totally.
good job. Thank you guys.
Thank you.